Welcome to the Heallist podcast, where we inspire and guide healers through business expansion. We give voice to incredibly abundant healers to share their stories. We dive into the quantum field to unlock the energies of conscious creation. We also develop digital tools to help you grow, which you can find on Heallist.com. I'm your host, Yuli, and I'm grateful you chose to join this space. Now let's go deep. Hello, dear friends. I'm so thrilled you found this very first episode of the Heallist podcast. There is some synchronicity between us, and it means that we're both meant to be in this space right now in this very moment. Although as I'm recording it, I'm also realizing it. Some of you might be listening to it way in the future as you future selves. And it's really interesting to think what this message will mean in the future that is just unfolding, and none of us really know what it holds. So this is a very exciting experiment in sending message to the universe and not controlling where it's going to land and who it's going to listen to, and just trusting that it's going to find its audience. And my audience is healers of all kinds, healers that were born to be healers, or healers that found their gifts later in life. This is the community that I've dedicated the past few years of my life and my career to search and study and research and really find any opportunity where I can bring my years of careers and expertise to really build something beautiful that will serve you. So I'm super thrilled that you found me, because I'm here to serve the healers community and to help you grow. In this podcast, I would like to explore 3 main topics, and we're going to dive into them in a little bit. One of the most exciting topics that I'm really cannot wait to share my thoughts on is quantum marketing and building business with energies, and really diving into the differences between the 3D world that operates by certain rules and systems, and taking it to the quantum and really trying to translate and bring some of those new concepts as well of quantum physics and this other parallel reality that works with energies, not with matter. And for me, and this is really thrilling, because finally, as someone who's worked in marketing and technology for the past 2 decades, I'm able to combine that knowledge with my personal spiritual journey that I've been on my entire life, and all those other subjects used to be called esoteric, but they're not really esoteric anymore, of quantum physics and spiritual teachings that really bring that other 5th dimension into the reality, and seeing how does that reflect in the business world. What can we learn? What principles we can apply to our work? So while talking about it, we obviously are going to be talking from the perspective of a healer and the businesses that healers build and operate and grow. But in addition, I would love to share with you some of the insights of my business and building Heallist from ground up as a startup venture. And I'm building with energies as well, the same way I'm building it in the 3D world, or actually more precisely in the virtual world, which is a whole other dimension. So taking all those lessons and bringing them together and sharing some of the principles of the quantum marketing, building business with energies, that's going to be one big topic. And I cannot wait to share that with you. Another big piece of this podcast, and I really hope to be able to bring some inspiring guests that really apply some of those principles, and whether they're healers themselves who've been abundant and successful in attracting growth and attracting audiences and helping people, or other business experts that kind of walk between those two worlds as well, and seeing what perspective they can offer and what tools and advice they can bring to the table that we all can learn from. Anything from managing their own day and their time to organizing their businesses to maybe doing accounting. And talking about all those business topics that might sound not very thrilling, but I really have confidence that we can make it a really exciting and discussion that we can all grow from. Because I feel, especially as some of us creative people or people that their day-to-day is not necessarily business or some of those kind of right brain subjects like accounting, we often try to stay away from those topics because they don't feel natural to us. They don't seem exciting or interesting or fulfilling. And they sometimes evoke emotions that the opposite of the joy and fulfillment that we want to feel in our day to day. And I really think for many of us, this is where the opportunity lies to really dive deep into them and understand what is it in those topics that makes us so uncomfortable. And second, see how we can transform that, how we can transform some of those beliefs about business and about marketing. How can we make them so they're more comfortable for us to talk about, and not just comfortable to talk about, that they are actually starting to serve us. They're actually starting to look exciting and challenging and something that is worth pursuing. And this is kind of my mission. And I love doing it. I love doing it with my friends. I love doing it with people I meet, to try to dig deep into what are some of those things that really make us uncomfortable or scare us or evoke certain fears. And how can we change that? How can we transform that? And I find that the topics of business and marketing often, for many people, again, especially for creatives or healers or anyone who is in a more kind of in a different field, they often are those roadblocks. So this will definitely be one of the focuses of this podcast, and the guests that we're going to be talking to. I would love to see how they are solving those roadblocks. How are they tackling their business? How are they balancing life and their craft and some of those kind of 3D reality topics that we all have to take care of, like our taxes or our accounting? They're all part of life. And finally, to bring it all together, how do we take that practical advice that we can learn from our inspiring guests and some of the most successful healers, and how can we combine it with those quantum principles? How can we translate that to the quantum field? And instead of following the standard principles of business and marketing, how can we take it to the next level? And, instead of playing by the book of making a business plan, creating a bank account, setting up systems, hiring people a certain way, how can we do it in this new world that is using energies, that is all about setting intentions and being more of a magnet to opportunities versus chasing opportunities or hustling for more work? How do we attract the right people to our businesses? All those are big topics, and I'm really excited to make that shift, to take, again, some of those proven and tested business tactics that are described in so many books, and there's so much practical advice out there that is just at some point becomes overwhelming. And trust me, I read those books and I studied any practical advice, both in regular business growing as well as startup world, which is even more complex with a technology component on top of it. There's a lot of advice that is focused on just changing matter with matter. Like one of my favorite teachers, Dr. Joe Dispenza says, there's only so much you can go when you work with matter against matter. What I'm excited about is to figure out and bring to light some of those new principles that is energy controlling matter. And suddenly some of those traditional business tactics and strategies, they don't seem to work anymore because they're all about chasing and manipulating and selling and tricking. And if you think about, and trust me, I've been in marketing for many, many years, and some of those tactics, now that I look at it and with this new perspective, they seem desperate. I don't think anyone intentionally wants to be desperate in this world. I think we all want to be abundant. We all want to have that sense of confidence that there is this infinite flow of resources and we can tap into it at any point we want and need. We want to be in a place that our dreams are accomplished with ease and a sense of fulfillment versus struggle. So how can we turn some of those business principles that are all about the chasing and the tricking and manipulating? And if you follow those few steps, this is how you're going to succeed. How do we take that and suddenly look at it from a quantum perspective, from the energetic perspective, and saying, okay, I don't want that. I don't want the chase. I don't want the hustle. I want things to come to me easily. I want to learn how to attract the right opportunities versus vetting through many until I find the right one. I want to be magnet to the right people that together we can create even more abundance. I want to be able to attract, as a healer, I want to be able to attract the clients who need me the most. I want to be able to help to as many people as I possibly can in the time I have. What if we just changed our perspective and looked into growing our businesses from this perspective of energies? I am extremely fortunate to be able to easily travel between the three different planes of 3D, the virtual world, and the quantum. And it took years to master, and I'm still learning. I'm a lifelong student. I've had some incredible teachers in my life that I would love to share with you my life journey in the next episode. I'm really excited to dive in and just kind of go back to my childhood and how my journey started and all the incredible teachers and guides that followed me on this journey. And finally, in that midlife point, I feel like everything makes sense. Everything that I've learned, everything that I worked on finally is combined together in one mission. And that mission is building Heallist and is building this tool for the healers community, which in this process of self-discovery and the personal growth that I've been to, simply put, I finally found my purpose. And my purpose is to help healers heal more people. And I'm doing that with the help of marketing and technology, the tools I've mastered for the past 2 decades of my career or my entire life. And my dream is to see Heallist as this launchpad that really sets up healers for success in the virtual world. And I think the virtual world is becoming more and more important these days. And this is where a lot of the healings are happening these days. and it's only going to grow. And it's such an incredible portal for healing because we're realizing now that we're working with those quantum, in the quantum field, with the energies, that we're realizing that the space doesn't matter anymore as much. The space itself is becoming less and less important because we are finally working with energies. We are working through the space. And we don't need to be together. We don't even need to see each other or imagine each other. This is extremely powerful. And this is where I think technology has such a huge role in for the next generation of healers. So how do healers operate in this virtual world? I believe it really starts with coherent digital presence, an easy look into a snapshot into a healer's profile that can tell a potential client or a healee who you are, what your story is, why you are this incredible healer, what brought you to help other people, but also what teachings and certifications you might have gotten to help create that trust. Right? It's always about the balance. It's about, yes, it's about hearing the personal story and maybe even seeing the picture of a healer and connecting with that or their description or where they're from, but also balancing that with some of those elements that create the trust, like education and schools that you've attended and certificates that you've gotten for your craft. And really get an understanding of you, not just as this kind of gifted healer, but also as a professional that they can trust their health and well-being with. And that's a really, really challenging thing to accomplish. And this is what we're working on at Heallist. And it's one of the first challenges we're tackling as a team is how to create that coherent digital presence for our healers. And the next thing, once you created that coherent presence, is how do we incorporate offerings that are intentional, that are there to serve others, and that are clear and understandable, but they're also there to serve a higher purpose. Yes, they might help with certain health conditions, for example, or mental issues, but they're also there to guide the clients to find their higher purpose. But they also reflect the healer's journey and not just their skills and their certificates and what they've studied, truly their gifts. How do we communicate those services to a larger audience that might not be familiar with healers, or maybe it's their first time seeing alternative wellness practitioner? So that's another big piece of that. And then the next piece is this effortless connection with clients, right? If we are in this world of energy, right? How do we have that healer and their amazing coherent presence? And then we find the offering that resonates and speaks to us. How can we make an effortless connection? How can I, as a client, easily make that decision and make that happen, translate that into the 3D world right away? And this is where that kind of magical, simple process of connection that we are solving as well. And then the goal of that really to create this abundant flow of connections and resources. Because as healers, I think, many of you live in those worlds when you really dedicate your life, you have a true gift and you dedicate your life to help people. And it's easy to forget your own needs when you're in that state. But we all have needs as human beings. We all have to have funds to eat and feed our children and our families, and also live with joy and pleasures and enjoy this time on the earth as well. And those resources, this is what feeds this is what creates this abundant flow is your healing practice. So how do we create that flow that is so easy, that is there, that you can tap into at any moment? And that is both for healers and clients. As clients, they want to be able to tap into any healer at any point of need, at any time that they feel that they could use that external help or someone to guide them in the process. And as healers, we want to be able to tap into the client flow anytime that our gift needs to be shared. Anytime we want to tap into abundance as well. It's an exchange. And at the end of the day, it's all about energy exchange. You as a healer giving your energy, you are receiving the privilege of healing another person, but you're also receiving exchange of resources and this abundant flow that you can tap into it. And the last piece of it is this idea of a circle, a community of healers that keeps uplifting each other. The sense of belonging that we are all part of this thing. We're all part of this healing community that has a higher purpose on this earth that we all share. And I think that's extremely powerful, but also very important for all of us to keep connected, not just to our own sources and our own souls, but also to each other, to every other single person in this healing community. And this is where we also see a lot of synchronicities, because suddenly when you have that community connection, when you have that abundance flow, when you have that fulfillment and this effortless connection, you start seeing also synchronicities. All parts of your life are easily synced and flow together. And this is really the ultimate state of fulfillment, where we can get to that place with some of the technology tools we're building, with some of the energetic tools. This is the dream. This is the purpose. This is the purpose I'm seeing for myself. This is the purpose of Heallist. This is where I see this healing community. This is the elements that are needed to make this community thriving and really living up to its potential. And I see Heallist as a sort of grounding force that is there to help healers connect in this 3D reality and handle all the needs of this reality and really make it easy and take care of that part. So you as a healer can focus your energy on sharing it with clients, on helping them, on bringing more energy to this earth plane, and being that amazing transmitter of energy versus someone who's drained by the tasks of this ordinary reality. So I really see it as a grounding force. And why is this so important? Why healers are important? Especially for those of you who are listening who might not be coming from this world or might not be familiar or had an experience with an amazing healer that changed your life. I hope you do soon, by the way. But I really think and I truly believe healers are the new influencers of their generation. As someone who spent years and years helping content creators and social media influencers build their brands, I really see a tremendous shift. And when I worked in the space, I worked mostly with the influencers that were called lifestyle influencers, just those people that really influence a lot of your lifestyle decisions and purchasing decisions and what lipstick to buy and what color to wear next spring and where to travel and what foods are cool right now and what brands are up and coming and exciting. Someone who spent many years kind of mastering that art, but also helping a lot of those content creators build their careers and build them to what they were, and working with a lot of creative, talented people, a lot of women that were very entrepreneurial who started, just with a simple Instagram account and great aesthetics. And they grew their craft to be an empire with their own products and their own services and their own corporations, some of them. I've seen that process and that creative community. And, of course, like any industry, there was a lot of positives about that. There's also some aspects are maybe not so such positive influence. I think a lot of things that start with good intentions, sometimes they get twisted, like the obsession with, social media fame and followers. And I'm not talking about that side right now. What I'm talking about is purely creative individuals that built their careers and became very abundant and very successful. They're living their dream. They're doing what they love. And they have huge audiences that are following them and learning from them and following their journey. I'm seeing a very similar process happening now in the wellness community, in the community of healers, because as our times change and suddenly some of those old world rules are becoming less and less important. And we finally realize, post-pandemic, the wars and the financial looming crisis and everything that's shifting in our world right now, if you look around, our values are changing and more people becoming more interested in their personal healing and the healing of their planet and the healing of people around them and the communities and those connections. They're interested in personal growth. They're interested in clean eating. They're interested in energies and understanding how that works. And they're less reliant on medicine and surgeries. They want to figure out how to be their own healer, how to go back to those times, the simpler times when we had more powers, when we had our communities, when we had our natural medicine, when we had our nature that was healing to us. So suddenly healers, a lot of them, they hold the keys to that world, to that old wisdom, whether it's specific tradition that they study or just purely ways to eat clean and to eat healthy. They hold the keys to our well-being. And as many of us realizing that our own well-being should be our top priority, not in a selfish way, but in the way that this is our best shot in contributing to a better world, is to heal ourselves from the inside, to evolve as human species into somebody who goes beyond the surface, beyond this 3D reality and its challenges and desires. The healers are becoming extremely important. There are guides to that other fifth dimension. There are guides to teaching us how to self-heal. So they're becoming the new influencers of this new era that we're entering. And they're going to become you healers that are listening to this. You're very important. You're holding the keys for many of us. And there will be more. There will be influx of new healers coming to the world. Because many of us, as we discover those abilities, as we learn from others, we suddenly realize that we want to step on that path too. We want to take what we learn from other healers and we want to share it with more and more people. So it's not a coincidence that many more people are going to study, get certification, whether it's Reiki or acupuncture or yoga, or many more people start to meditate and they get deep into the practice and suddenly they find themselves in a position that they want to teach others how to do the same. This is what's been happening in the world. So we're looking at this point that there will be a huge influx of healers that already started happening, and there will be more coming in this world. This is why I'm so excited to build a venture that is a true launchpad that allows those up and coming new forces to really come into this world and very quickly get up and running with all the 3D formalities and forms, and allow them to help people very quickly and easily. And why do people need their own tools? Why they need their own podcast? Why they need their own marketing strategies? And you healers that are listening to me, you know that you operate by different rules, and you need different tools, and you need different tips and tricks, because the rules of the old world no longer work for you. And this is what we're here to create together. We want to create new standards of marketing and running a business that resonate with you, that resonate with your frequencies, that don't necessarily follow the old world rules. We're here to create these new methodologies that feel so right and so comfortable to you, that come with zero sense of guilt or shame around self-promotion or marketing your gifts and services. We're here to create that new way of talking about your gifts in this world, and talking in a way that is understandable, that is inspiring action. Because at the end of the day, we want to help more people. We want to heal more. We want to heal our communities, our individuals. We want to heal this planet. And to do that, we need to learn how to convey this message, how to access those community and those individuals that we can help, how to have the right tools to help them, and how to grow and scale all of this incredible experience. I cannot wait to continue talking and taking you on this journey with me. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned for the next episode, where I share my personal story and my own spiritual transformation.